So, hello. I have some announcements that are in November, so next month. Next month. There will be no meetings on the Saturday evening and Sunday morning in Holland. Then instead of that, we're having an intensive. It's the 19th and 20th of November. That's I think it's 7 hours a day. So you're very welcome to join, and we'll see what happens. It's really intensive, so long meetings after each other. So there will be a lot of 3 or 4 meetings with breakout rooms in between. And you can see the details on the website. And there's also a live meeting in Amsterdam, so we can meet finally, maybe. And it's for English. It's in English and maybe some Dutch also. It depends on what people are coming. So it's also for people who speak English. And it's 3 and 4 December. So if you want to come, please let me know. That would be great. So this is a meeting about nothing. It's just about nothing. Nothing is happening. Nothing is, you can get nothing. So you can come into the meeting and get nothing, or don't come into the meeting and get nothing. It doesn't matter. That's very strange for meetings, because most of the time meetings are about I want something, I'm longing for something, and maybe everything gets more clear, or maybe there's something happening, or maybe this is letting go, and maybe there's something falling away, maybe it's getting closer, so everything can be thought about. But there's nothing happening. There's already nothing happening, and it seems to happen. It's all appearances like circumstances and houses and bodies. It's going nowhere. So this is a message. So it's really out of the normal story. It has nothing to do with the story. We are so used to think in the story, to deal with ourselves in the story, to talk about things that happen in the story. And then suddenly there's this message, and it has nothing to do with the story. The story is just the story. And it's the story of the dream of me. And I can be living in the story, it doesn't matter. It doesn't give you anything. It doesn't bring you anywhere. Life doesn't bring anything. Life is. And that's already the case. So there's nothing more to get than what already is happening. And there's no one. So there's no one to get something. It's empty. The bodies are empty. Everything is empty. There's nothing happening. And that's really weird. And you don't need to understand it. That's also one thing. When there can be an understanding, and maybe it's clear that there's no me. And it can be explained and experienced, and maybe you have examples there to prove there's no me. But that's just an understanding, and it can be nice to understand it. But this message has nothing to do with that. When there's no understanding, it doesn't matter. This is about not knowing. There's only unknowing, not knowing. We don't know what's happening next. There's no one. There's no one. There's no free will or choice. When there's no one, there's also no free will or choice. And there's not knowing what will happen. And that's already the case. And when there's someone, and when there's a feeling or a belief, or it's for you, it's very clear there's someone. There seems to be something missing, something not right yet, or something. I'm not good enough. This is not good enough. So there seems to be a drive to make it right, to do the right thing, to maybe to understand, maybe to behave in a certain way. So there's a whole survival system in the story, like trying to behave in a good way, or trying to do your best, or there's all kind of different things. that seems to help, like to be safe, to be loved, to have recognition, to be that people are glad to see you. Something like that. This is not about feeling nice. And most most meetings, or when it's about psychology or maybe religion, it's always about, I want to feel good. I want to feel happy. That's the normal way. And move away from pain or maybe feelings you don't like. When there's me, there's also looking at yourself. And when there's a looking at yourself or awareness, and then looking at feelings and feelings like, oh, this is not, it's not about that. It's not really thinking that, but it's not, oh, it's not nice. What is going on here? It feels awful. It's like, oh, maybe it has to do with this or it has to do with that. And we try to find out what's going on, and then maybe we can change it and then feel better about ourselves. This is not a meeting that is about feeling better about ourselves. It's saying there's no one. There's already no one. So there's also no need to lose your me or to know there's no me or to understand that. It doesn't matter if there's no understanding. It's childlike. So little children don't understand why. That's later on when children are, the brain is more sophisticated, and the questions are like little children asking all why all the time. Before that, there's no why. There's just living, doing, crying, anything. And there's also no development. When there's a story, there seems to be development and comparing to other people and thinking, or to before, like, oh, now it's going much better. And before I was so involved in that and then a lot in my thoughts, and now I'm not feeling much more better that I can do that. And it's always about development. When there's me, there's a story in time. And when there's time, there seems to be development. And there's a need for development because it wants to feel better and better and better. We have to save the earth because it's, and then there's always something going on about time. And then this message, and then they're saying there's no time. There's no time. There's only time in the story. It seems it's apparently time. There's no time. There's no before. There's no after. There's just this. This is just not something special. It's everything. So it can be moving or a table or a glass of water or drinking. It's just this. And that's already happening. And that's it. And it doesn't seem the solution for problems maybe you have. This is seeing no problems because there's already no one. When there's me, there seems to be problems because me wants it in a certain way. So I want to feel good about myself. And then when it's not happening, then there seems to be a problem because, and then we have to solve our problem or do something to make it right. That's the story of me, and it can be in all kind of different circumstances and ways and feelings. And it always seems there's something missing. There's something still not right yet. That's the story of me. Trying to make it better, trying to get answers. And in these meetings, there are no answers. It can be talking. It can be asking a question, and it can be talking. But it's no answer. And when there are no answers, there's suddenly that whole system that trying to get something, it's a bit, that's a bit bored, or that's like, oh, and it's not feeded. So it falls down, and maybe there's no answer, so no questions coming or nothing is coming in that moment. It falls apart. And that can happen in these meetings or in a gathering with people together talking about this, that it falls apart. It needs that whole me, that whole survival system, that needs needs to be feeded and go on, to go on. And when that's not happening, it just falls apart. And it's energetic. It's energetic. It has nothing to do with what you do or why or anything. It just can happen or not. It's just energy. There's no person or somebody who finally gets it. There's nothing to get. And when everything falls away, and it's not even falling away, when everything falls away, it's no, it's not falling away. It doesn't, it doesn't arise anymore. It's just seen like, oh, it was already like this. It was just, it was a misunderstanding, but it's so embodied and so deeply embodied. There was something wrong, and I had to make it right. And when that's not there anymore, it's just what it is. Not special, not a state of happiness or something like that. But in a way, the strange thing is, life is, it's subtle, has something like celebration. Life is a celebration. It's a celebration in everything. So it doesn't mean that there's always joy. It's also the celebration of being anger, like that, or anything. It's the way it is. And when there's an understanding, there can be saying like, oh, this is happening, but that it's not happening to me. That's a concept. When there's still that trying to mention or trying to see like, oh, no, but it is, there's happening something and there's a huge feeling, and then saying, yeah, but that feeling is also what is. Then there's still two. There's still an understanding, and that can be a concept like, and it gives a bit like, no, it's a bit more relaxed maybe in that way. But it's still it's an understanding or knowing. This has nothing to do with knowing. It's full on. Everything is full on. There's no escape. There's nothing saying to yourself like to myself like, oh, this is what's happening, or this is it, or anything. There's only not knowing. So there can be feelings, can strong feelings, or normal feelings that doesn't exist, but there can be tiny feelings, or not knowing what the feeling is. Walking, making decisions can happen. It seems like it's making decisions, but it's not me making decisions. It's not you making decisions. They are made. There are decisions made like, oh, I want to do that, and we are going to do that. We make an appointment. Planning can be made. And it's only what's happening. So life isn't going like, oh, there's some persons and we take care of everything. No, life is not interested in anything. It's energy. It's energy. It's like nature. It's just what's happening. Nothing taking care of that. It's just that, what's happening. And when it's not happening, then it's that. Or this. And we can talk about that. Maybe a question. But we can talk about anything. It doesn't matter where we're talking about. It doesn't mean that we talk about something like in the non-dual setting. It can be personal questions. Doesn't matter where we talk about. Because underneath there's something else going on. And that's about there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing right. It's what is. But there can't be something wrong. That's huge. There's nothing wrong. And that's underneath everything. There's something going on like that. Not seeing that there's someone. And that can energetically destroy concepts, maybe, or beliefs. We don't know what's happening. It doesn't matter. Because what's happening is it. And it doesn't matter because it's already complete. It's already everything. No need to do or change anything. That what's happening is it already. But there can be a strong sense of no, it's not, and trying to change that. Then that's it. And we can talk about that if you want to. So let's see what's happening in this meeting. You can unmute yourself if you want to say something. Let's see what happened.
Hello, Rose.
Hello. Hi.
Sorry to disturb the silence.
Sorry, what?
Sorry to disturb the silence.
Oh, no, you're not disturbing.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
I know it's all a story. That's fine. But
Mm.
about a year ago, I became aware that my character, my personality, was desperately trying to seek something out of everything,
Mm. Yeah.
and I decided I just didn't want to keep going. So I just stopped interacting with the world.
Mm.
And I remember saying to my psychiatrist, could we consider a lobotomy
Yeah.
to turn the mind off?
Yeah.
And I've just been sleeping I sleep all day, every day now, and
Mm.
it's like I don't want to play the game, and I feel like I don't know. I feel
Mm.
like my personality is so childish now, and he keeps seeming to say there's no point in doing anything because there's no happiness. And it now sort of feels like just waiting for the personality to drop away. It's pretty boring now. But I wonder if the personality is not in the...
No, you wait forever. You wait forever because there's a seeing that there's something wrong about what's going on. There's nothing wrong with the personality. When there's a certain way of behaving or thinking or doing, that's it. It's not you doing that. It's already that. When there's a lot of sleeping or maybe interacting, then that's what seems to happen. It's an appearance, so it's not really interfering, but it's that what's happening. And there's that, and then there's no time, so there's only what's happening where it seems to happen. And then that's it. It's going nowhere. But it's not wrong. Nothing is wrong. When there seems to be something wrong, and you try to change that into something else, you don't know what, but there seems to be a stopping of this and doing something else. It's the same story. It's still searching. You can't stop searching. You can't do that. It's a drive to find something. It's not wrong. It's just a drive. And it seems like there's something to find somewhere. We don't know what, but there will be something. Maybe it will happen someday. No, it isn't. It will happen someday. That's the dream that we all have as people. And there seems to be problems, or it's not satisfying, or something like that. Not seeing that this, what's happening, is already it. Maybe sleeping or sitting, and it doesn't mean it's nice. It's what it is.
Yeah. Yes, it's just unsatisfactory right now. That's all.
Yeah. But when there's someone, there is always underneath, or maybe stronger or not stronger, there's underneath everything, there's dissatisfaction. That's the story of me. There seems to be something missing or boring or something like that. Yeah. Because it's always seen like this isn't it, and I'm looking for something, but it's still not there. That's so convincing, and it's not even in the mind. It's just something embodied. And there can only be a hearing of this message, like, oh, but this is it. And you can't do that. You can't say to yourself, oh, this is it. That's another concept. So that's the awful thing in that way of this message. You can't do anything with it because it's about loss, and loss you can't do. It can happen or not, and then we say, oh yeah, we want loss, but it's a loss for some. That what we want, normal, what most people want, is something for themselves to feel more happy or good or something like that, relaxed maybe or satisfied. And it's everything. This message is about, it's everything. It's not about feeling good. It's, I don't know what's gonna happen. It can be sitting, it can be pain, it can be anything. It's everything. That's the completeness. When there's a feeling, when they're saying it's not satisfying, that's already a conclusion on top of what's happening. What's happening is maybe, I don't know, sitting on the couch, just sitting. And they're saying, yeah, I don't feel satisfied. What's going on here? But then that sitting, that sensation of sitting, that's it. Very tiny and very close. You can't even name it.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Oh, there's another. It's in chat. I'm trying for a while to solve a problem for my child. When I'm able to solve it or to act like I think I should, I feel responsible. And like it is wrong, she experiences pain or sadness sometimes. Yeah, that's the story of being a mother. It's always like, oh, my child doesn't feel good, and I'm responsible to make her happy. That's the story of being a mother and motherhood. And things like, there's no mother, there's no mothering, there's just what is. There's no being responsible. There's no one. There's also no one in the child, and there's no one in the mother. It's just that what's happening, and there's no choice, no free will, because there's no one. So there can happen anything. You don't know what's going on. Maybe there are patterns, and then the child is like crying or withdrawing or things going on. It's not about you, and it's not about her or him. It's about what's happening. And there can be pain, and there can be feeling like, oh, what's going on, or saying that. I don't know. What already is happening, the thing is, there's nothing wrong with what's going on. So when there's doing something and then the child doesn't feel good, it's not wrong. It's just what's happening. And that's underneath everything. There's something going on, like with a mother, like, oh, do I do the right thing? I have to do the right thing. I feel responsible because otherwise, and that's the whole story. But underneath, there's that huge feeling or belief that there's something wrong. I can't do something wrong, and I have to take care. I have to do the right thing for her or him. There's nothing wrong with what's being done. That's what's happening. And maybe there's something going on with the child, or the child isn't always there either. There's no child, there's just that energy that's there. There's no relation. There's no relation between what's going on here and then there may be a feeling, but it has nothing to do with what's going on. And there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with what's being done. It's not nice. It can be not nice. That can happen. Can be anger. Can be anything. It's not wrong. And that's responsibility is also like, oh, I have to do the right thing. There's no right and wrong. That's just what's going on. And maybe there's something saying or doing or not doing, just sitting. And that's it. Has nothing to do with right and wrong. There's another about cause and effect. I hear many testimonials from people having bad side effects from the vaccines. They wouldn't have had that without the prick. Yeah, you don't know. You don't know. That can happen. There can be all kind of information about anything, and we think, and there seems to be experiences. We read it in the papers or we hear it on television. There can be a lot of experiences, and that seems that that's the information, that's the truth, or we have to look at that, or we have to do something with that. I don't know. There can be that a lot of information, and that's what's happening. Maybe they're taking a vaccine or not. I don't know. And then it doesn't. They're taking a vaccine and it doesn't help anything. Or it doesn't make you safe. It's not. There's no safety. There's just that making taking it or not taking it. I don't know. It doesn't matter. When there's me, there's always being busy from is this the right thing? Is this the wrong thing? I can prove it. Or we have a lot of arguments for this and arguments for that, and trying to talk about anything, convincing. It's a lot about knowing, trying to know, because when we know, then we feel safe. That's the normal way of how we deal with things. A lot of people do that. This is not about life is not about knowing. There's only not knowing, but that's so free and so insecure. It's so freefall that we try to know, and we think when we know, then it will be safe. And it's an endless going because we never know for sure because there's other arguments or experiences, and it's never really safe. But we think that that's the way we have to go. And then there's hearing this message. This life is free fall. It's not about knowing. You don't know. You don't need to know because it's everything. So, but you can't say that to yourself because that seems to be a lot of it's a new belief. But it's just what's happening, and there's no one to take care of. There's no need to take care of this body or you. That's the normal way of what we think. We have to take care of ourselves and look at yourself and take the right food or do the right thing. You don't know if that's what's going on is the right thing. There's nothing wrong with what's being done. There's a huge feeling, and that's where this message is all about. It's there's something wrong. Maybe there's something missing. Do I do the right thing? That's a lot of insecurity in that sense. But we don't know. And that what's happening is it. That can be fear or it can be pain or being ill. And it's not because of anything. Because then we always think that, oh, I'm ill and I should have done something else. And that's the curse, that's the suffering. But there's always something on top of that, what's happening. That's like, I did the wrong thing, or did I do it right, or I should have done that. No, you couldn't. It's what's happening. There's not someone who's deciding and leading your life. It's what's happening. You don't have any power. There's no power of thoughts. There's no power of me or you. It's what's happening. It's empty. It doesn't go anywhere. It seems to go anywhere because we think I am here and this is my life and I look around and what's the best thing to do and da 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 da. There's no development. There's always, when there's me, there's always comparing with other people or listening to messages of other people, trying to find out what's the best way. You don't know. You don't need to know because that's what's happening is it, and it's not wrong. It's just what it is for no one. There's nothing wrong. That's amazing. People say you say amazing a lot of times. Well, there it is again. It's amazing. It's there's nothing wrong. Wow, that's we are so into this. This is right. Do I do it right? Or do There's so much suffering into that. That's so embodied. There's something wrong, and it's such a misunderstanding because it's so embodied. You can't say I'm okay. That's just the concept. That's hearing. There's nothing wrong. Whatever you do, whatever it does, it's that. It's not wrong. It's just what it is. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. It's what it is. Just that. Very neutral. Wow. That's the freedom.
Rose,
Yeah. Hi.
in a way, it's hello. It's like we're being lived
Hmm.
by something else.
Yeah, it's not really like it's not being lived. It's just that seems like there's someone and there's something out of us that's taking the decisions. There's it's it's less than that in a way. It's less. It's just life. There's also no the body isn't real. It's all energies going and there's no one inside and it's just one chaos of happenings and bodies and streets and that's nice.
But you, at one point, you were like, well, I'd just say me. I won't speak for the others. But at one point, you were like me, and you
Yeah.
then met Tony. You met Tony and
Oh yeah.
Claire,
Yeah.
and then eventually you're able to now sit here utterly convinced that there is no Rose. You're
It's not
completely convinced.
no, I'm not convinced. That's the
Ah,
same thing. I'm not convinced. That seems like it because there's the talking like that. It's just come out very like that.
mm.
It's it's not convinced. No, because that's a knowing somewhere, and that's what we are used to. That I don't have that conviction. I don't. I have that not so strong. And maybe I sense it somewhere. It's about loss. When everything is lost, and that means everything. So there's no identity. There's no road. There's nothing. And then there's coming out this. Oh, sometimes it's even like, oh, what's coming out here? And then 5 minutes later, it's just completely. I don't even know what's going on or what's said here. It's not my saying. It's just coming out. It's everywhere like that. But okay, that's here. Then they'll say because there's some. It's everything is lost, and
But there was
that
there was a
yeah
falling away of words.
yeah yeah you can say that. But in that yeah it's difficult because it's in the story it's lost and or that's falling away. Yeah, it doesn't happen anymore. So it's more like that. It's talking in time. Couldn't otherwise you could say what was happening. But it's not really a happening. It's like there's so many beliefs and concepts about who we are and I am here and that's on top of that what's happening. That's so normal. It's so embodied. And then suddenly that doesn't happen. And then oh, it's like oh, it was always like that. But that other belief and concept, it was so embodied and so strong. That cannot even there can be something even there that's still there going on, but it's so yeah not believed anymore. But it's not active. It's not active. There's nothing going on about it's not coming. There's also when something is happening, there's not coming like that awareness is also not there anymore. So there's nothing like looking at yourself or saying that thoughts are come like, oh, what did you do? What did I do that? Oh, it's just not coming. I don't know how that works, but it's not there. And then it's suddenly like, and it's and I also have to say, like in the years that I'm talking about this and with meetings and with people, in the first years I didn't speak at all because I couldn't talk about it. Well, there was no words were coming. And then after a while I was talking with some people and there was a lot of talking a bit like how do I say it? And that then I think maybe in time it's a story, but in time there's just more falling away, and then that suddenly that message came out stronger, something like that. It seems like a development. It's not, but it's, it's a way of explaining. I don't know. When they're sitting in the garden and I'm thinking, oh, what shall I say in the meeting? There's nothing coming, and I really don't know. And I think sometimes a question comes back, like when there was a meeting, and I thought, oh, what should I say now? I really don't know. I thought, what did I say then? I don't remember. And it's like that. This is nothing special. Rose is not now having something or not having something, and that's I want that too. No, it's most people have something that it isn't. That's lost here. That's on top of that. What's happening is on top of that. There's jumping on it, and it's like, oh, but I feel not satisfied. That's already the story, but it's so normal. It's so embodied, so it doesn't feel like a belief. It's just what's going on. It's also not feeling joy all the time. There's underneath that when they're saying there's underneath, there's some joy, but it's so subtle. It's so subtle. It's just, and it can be feeling like, oh, I don't know, and just anything, just the normal human things going on. There's no escape for anything. So when there's a feeling, there's not knowing what the feeling is. Sometimes there's maybe feeling sadness. I don't even know. Sometimes, most of the time, it's a mix or just sitting or pain somewhere. But it's not somebody being what is lost too. Is that there's the body is mine, so I have to take care of it. There's nothing going on like I'm here, so I have to take care of Rose or do the best thing. No, there's no free will. They can be saying like, "Oh, don't want that," but sometimes it's happening, sometimes not. Yeah, and that's going on. It's already forgotten what was said before. Yeah, there's a freedom, but it's not the feeling of freedom. You can't imagine it. You can't make an image of it. Trying to, what is that? What she's saying? You can't. Impossible. It's just what is happening. Maybe they're sitting, nothing going on. Maybe they're thoughts. Then there's thoughts going nowhere. No, don't meaning anything. It seems like having a meaning. It's just that energy in that way. That's it already. Oh, there's another chat. So the most people who live as a person are living in the wrong way somehow, although nothing is wrong. Isn't that crazy? It's not a wrong way, it's a misunderstanding. But it's so embodied and so the normal way. But it's crazy. And they think I'm crazy saying there's no time. And they say, yeah, of course there's time. There's a past. I have photos. I have that. Okay, I don't need to say something else. When people thinking that, then you think that. So I don't mind. It can be very strong. There's nothing going on like trying to convince somebody. There's already no one. It's just, but it's not wrong. When there's somebody who really believing in time, then maybe we talk in time and say, yeah, there's something that happened. Yeah, we talk like that. So what? Doesn't matter. So there's no need to believe in it. That's just going along with that. Not serious. Life isn't serious. Can be painful and struggling. Like people have that, and it's not when people are struggling or there's a lot of pain or something like that. There's no one here. Then it's not saying like, oh, but there's no one. No, that's like convincing people of this message. But there can be any reaction. There can be, oh, come on, oh, what's going on? Oh, I don't know, anything. Or what are you, I don't know, you don't know. It can be anything. It is not seeing that there's something wrong. Just not seeing a person. That doesn't mean you have to say it or there's something going on like that. It's underneath this message. That's why there's no need to talk about this message. There can be talk about anything, about the weather or about my mother, and underneath that, there's nothing going on. There's something right or something wrong. That that can be felt or not. What's the not serious part in a violent act? When there's violation, that's that. Oh, it's so difficult to say. It's not saying to somebody, "Oh, this is not serious." That, but it's seeing like there can be pain and there can be a reaction on that, but it's not. How can you say that? It's so difficult to explain it because we are so into the story, and this is when there's a violation or violence, it's wrong, and you can't do that. And violence can happen, and there can be pain. That's it. It's not right or wrong. We are so into right and wrong that violence is wrong, and that there's pain. There can be pain or screaming or anything. But it's not wrong. It's something on top of what's going on. And that's lost. So there's nothing going on about is it right or wrong. It's just what's happening. That's it. Nothing more. And that all that looking at it and saying something about it, that's lost. So that whole thing about right and wrong is also lost. It's not about right and wrong. There's pain or anything, and that can be a reaction or anything like that. I don't know. And there's nothing going on about people in another country or things. That's that's just information that's going on, and we can have a lot of opinions about that. Yeah, that can happen. I don't know. This is everything. So this is this room. Maybe if there's somebody talking, then that's it. There can be some energetic thing going on, like pain, or then there's something saying maybe or doing. I don't know. That's it. But it's not about right and wrong. That's huge. It can be huge because we are always thinking, "Yeah, but that's wrong." And that it's not about right or wrong. It's about there's pain. Maybe there's pain or physical damage. Then that's what's going on. There's a lot. Can be a lot of opinions about this is the right thing and how do you think about that? What do you feel about that? I'm not interested in all those discussions. I'm not interested. It's just an opinion. When there's somebody sitting there and there's talking and maybe something going on, then that's what's happening. That's it. That's a lie.
Hi, Rose.
Hi, hello.
Did you hear me well?
Yeah, I can hear you.
When you talk about that, it sounds like I hear just today something saying everything is already accepted, otherwise it could not appear to happen. Would you agree, or do
No,
you?
no, it has nothing to do with acceptance.
Yeah.
It's like we have some power to accept it, and then it's happening. No, it makes the what someone really like important.
No, I mean
Uh,
everything is not by a person accepted, so or it's already accepted, otherwise it could not happen.
But accepted by what or who?
Yeah, that's the question.
Yeah, that makes it complicated. It's
Yeah.
just when it's happening, it's happening. That's everything. It doesn't need acceptance. It's just what's going on. Know why?
Because at the moment, or quite often, you think probably it could happen in a different way. There's not probably a personal choice, but there's a choice that energy moves in a different direction. Things appear differently. So the question was: did the things appear independent from the apparent persons?
Yeah,
Completely.
yeah. There is no person. There is no
Yeah.
one. It's empty. There's just life is deciding. You could say that, but it's a bit strange to say because it's not a person. It's just life. It's energy.
So it's also now way to predicting how things appear.
Predicting, you can't predict. You don't know. We can't do something wrong. That's what we do. Things that we did. Maybe I should have done that because and then that's the suffering. You couldn't. You couldn't do something different. It's that. That's the only thing there is. Not wrong. Maybe different is what you want.
Yeah, after all, nothing could be wrong at all.
It can't be wrong. No, it's what it is. Very. It's not. That's more that we think because we are there, and then it's about us, and then there's right and wrong. Because when you don't feel good, it's wrong. That's it's very personal. That right and wrong has nothing to do with life. It's personal because we think life is about us.
Yeah.
Mm.
The last couple of times or weeks, I tried to figure out who take things personally. There's no way to finding out how it comes in a personal experience. Because at first it's clear there's no person, but the other side is when something happening or an event is happening, there's a
Mm.
reaction from the body, and it feels
Mm.
somehow, even if
Mm.
there's a knowing or understanding, it's
Mm.
nothing is personally at all.
Mm.
It feels really personal.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could not push it away somehow. When things
Mm.
feel personally, they feel
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah. You can't make it different. You can
Yeah,
understand there's no me, but then when it's going in and there's a feeling of or something like that, it feels like I feel that. Yeah, that's how it is. Feel it isn't. Yeah, you can't do anything about that. So it's not wrong. But then it's feeling like that. It's feeling really angry about somebody. Then that's happening. Yeah.
Yeah, especially when things did happen to the body, more or less. You get hurt
Yeah.
or you get injured.
Mm.
It feels
Yeah.
really personal, even if you know
Yeah.
that's not your body. It feels really personal.
Yeah. Then it shows that the knowing is just a superficial thing, like, oh it's not about me, da, da, da. And then suddenly, boff, the happy is hurt, the body is really hurt, or there's pain, or there's something going on. It feels like, yeah, but oh, my body, yeah, sure. But then that's, yeah,
Yeah, and
that's it. It's so
even if
embodied. Mm.
and even if you hear all the things about non-duality, you get a clear understanding when
Yeah,
things happen, when you have an accident or something. It
yeah,
really it feels hurt when you have headache or so. It feels really
yeah.
personal, I think.
Yeah, but a headache, but it's forgotten that there can be headache and complete, really strong pain, and that's it. That, of course, anything can happen. Accidents, your leg cut off, I don't know. Anything, of course. It's not, this is not living in the same world. It's
Yeah.
everything. And there can be really pain, sure. But there's nothing going on like, oh, what did I do, or what should I do, or do I have the right medicine, or all that. Yeah, but there can be a thinking of that, and there can be trying to get other medicines, or maybe something like that. I don't know. Anything. It doesn't, and that when there's go looking at yourself and thinking, oh, it's still personal. Oh, that maybe that. Oh, it's still not going. That makes it in a way wrong. When there's feeling like, oh, this is my body and it's on, then that's what's going on. It's not wrong. It's just what's going on. Doesn't matter. It's not. This is not like, oh, the end is that you don't have any personal things anymore or something like that. It's that's also a concept. It doesn't matter. It's already the way you are doing things or what's going on. That's it. That there can be thoughts about, oh, this is me doing that. Then those thoughts are coming. It's life. It's not you doing that, but it feels like that. Then it feels like it's belief in a way. Then it's like that. You can't do differently. It's not wrong. That's the only thing there is. No need to change that.
It's really difficult
Mm.
when you hear this message that there's absolute no power at all or
Mm.
any control at all in anything.
Mm.
Whatever happened more or less. You could do whatever you like
Mm.
because or you even don't do anything. There's
Mm.
no
Mm.
control instance here. There's no separate controlling
Yeah.
thing here. The body reacts how it reacts, and that's it. Results appear or does not appear or whatever. So there's no way of any kind of choice.
Mm.
That what it's called my life.
Mm. The beliefs can also happen.
Yeah.
And there can be some thoughts and really hang on to that, because when it's it's embodied. So it's when the body is that's something else, and there's everything is going on. It seems like, oh yeah, 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 and then suddenly something in the body that's much more stronger. So then it's very clear there's some beliefs going on, but that's then there's belief. Doesn't matter. Feels a bit like, oh, then there's still belief. Oh, I want to lose everything. That yeah, that's, I don't know. Maybe there are some beliefs here also. I don't know. Maybe it can be happen. That can happen. I don't know. Sometimes not wrong.
And I think it's so deeply ingrained in
Mm.
our society that you have control over your life. that you
Yeah.
are responsible, you are the one
Yeah. Right.
who is responsible for your behaviors, more or less. I mean, behaviors happen more or less.
Mm.
Quite often you try to control them after they happened. You have a bad
Yeah.
behavior, and after that, oh, you feel guilty.
Mm.
But
But you know, circumstances are also not real. It's
yeah,
just energy that's going on, and that doesn't mean when there's something going on, it's that real circumstances and real the body touching the body or something, and then it's already gone, and there's something else, and so it's circumstances and how people react, and there's also no world. So nothing is real, but if you don't know what's going on, and you don't know about next time also. What we think we know, and then there's a sudden, there can be in the body, there can be some behavior about preventing that or things like that. That's survival system. But that's an energy that can be there. Yeah, just energy.
yeah, and really strangely, quite often when you observe processes or so,
Mm.
you think that you have influence about things. When you look at
Yeah,
therapy and you see how some therapy forms
yeah,
seems to
mm,
work more or less, it
yeah.
seems like there's control about it,
Hmm.
but it's all an
Yeah.
illusion.
Yeah, when there's a belief, then there's an experience that fits together. Then when there's a belief, you see it in the world, or you see it in the circumstances, and you read it, or I don't know, something like that. And when that's falling away, it's suddenly seeing something else. So yeah, you can't do anything else about that. When it's that belief is that it's confirmed. It seems to be confirmed. Yeah, that's how it's going. That's how energy works. Doesn't mean it's the truth. But, yeah,
Yeah, I think you're right.
yeah, I think Listen, chat. Is it not meant to be this misunderstanding? Animals don't have a misunderstanding. Yeah, it's always trying to find out why. People have a brain, and they think that they can abstract. In that whole abstracting, there seems to be the separation in that whole dream and thinking about what is right and wrong and what is really happening and seeing everything as solid. Everything seems solid. Circumstance seems real and true. It's energy. It's energy like that, and it's already different. But it seems like this is real and this is really happening. It's solid and it's happening to me or it's happening to somebody else. It's energy, and it's so convincing. It can be, maybe it can somewhere understood, but in the same way, it's so embodied. It's convincing that circumstances are real. Everything what's happening is real. What is read or heard or seen on television, it's real. No, it's just a film on television, a little movie. That's it. But it's complete. It's immediately like the brain is abstracting it, and it's happening over there, and it's real, and it makes it a story, and it's awful, and then oh, I feel awful about those people, and it's endless. It's a story, and it seems so real and convincing, and a lot of people are. It's in that belief. It's so strong. And it's about us, and then there's this message saying nothing is real. Their circumstances are apparently real. It seems like it's real, but it's empty and it's not. Its pain is real, but it's not there. And it feels like, oh, there's pain, but in the same time, it's not there. That's amazing. But when there seems to be somebody, and I'm here and I'm living my life, that nothing, that somewhere it seems to be lost. So everything seems the only thing there is and real, and I have to survive, and other people are there and they suffering or whatever happens. And then suddenly there's talking about, oh, nothing is real. And there's that look, when there's that missing, there's looking to, where you could say that, to that nothing, looking for nothing. Well, that sounds strange. So it seems like we're looking for something, and something in the world, something in the reality, in what is real and solid, a feeling or circumstances. But it's doesn't it life is not going somewhere. It is. So there's this, that's everything. And then there's this, and that's also it's only everything already, not for anyone. Just what's happening. It's energy going in a chaotic way. We're thinking we have control, we have to direction, there's time, that um, all that time, direction, it's part of that abstract world, the dream of me. But it's so convincing. We're living in that for years, you could say. It seems so embodied and convincing. And then there's this message, because there's looking for something like, oh, it can't be this. There's already so much being like maybe psychotherapy or earning money or power or anything, and there's looking for yourself, and then maybe this message. But it's always looking in the story for something, a feeling or a state or circumstances. And it's an endless search, and there's somewhere felt like, oh, it has to be something else. And then there's this message, yeah, and there's a suggestion. It's out of the story. It has nothing to do with the story. The story isn't real. It's a dream, and nothing is real. It's an appearance. If it's so out of your normal way of thinking, it's like You can't understand that. So that most people just don't want even to listen to this. But then somewhere there's something else going on. It's not about not understanding, but there's something else. There's no one, and it's about nothing wrong and right. And somewhere there's a resonance. There can be a resonance, but not in the knowing. Somewhere else. It doesn't need to understand or to know. It's energetic. So there can be a loss of belief. Can happen in these meetings or maybe other times. And it doesn't feel that strong, that belief can be happening like that. It's about loss. But sometimes you don't even, it's not even noticed. You don't need to. Yes. Even if there's no one, aren't you worried that someone will hear this and will decide to neglect or hit somebody, for an example? No. I don't know. No, that can happen. Yeah. I don't know. No, I'm not busy with that. Anything can happen. They can be going outside and then hitting in the face or having an accident. This is not. I'm not safe now. Now I'm. I don't know. Anything can happen. It's not that I can't see the relation between saying this message and then somebody hitting me. That can happen. I don't know. Being angry, maybe. Yeah.
Hey, Rose, could you probably clarify something? When you say there could be resonance, the understanding that I have is that something resonates with something else. But when there's nothing who could resonate. So probably I'm confused about that. Could you clarify that, please?
Yeah, it's a resonance. There's a remembering somewhere. There's a when I can only say when everything fell away, there was suddenly like, oh, but of course, I already, yeah, of course. So that's I don't know how that works. It's difficult to explain because there can be a resonance, not for anyone, but it's yeah, I don't know. Good question. Yeah. Somewhere, the strange thing is there can be a resonance. Like I was with Tony, and then the first time, and I was always looking in the story, of course, like everybody else, and trying to find out and work on myself and da 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 da. And the first time I heard him, there was something I didn't understand at all. It was just and there was a fear also, like it's dangerous, and oh my God, what's going on here? And I didn't understand it, but still there was a fear. And in the same time, there was something like, oh, yeah, and I want to hear it more from it. Very strange. I couldn't understand that. It's very strange. There's something going on, like you can understand it's fear, but I couldn't understand why I was fear because I didn't understand that message. And still there was fear, and still there was a resonance. And I want to go again. And I wanted to stop it also. It was like, what is going on here? So I couldn't understand what was going on. It's just that. That can be that. And this is so you can't understand that. It's what can happen. can't explain that.
It was quite strangely regularly when we fear something, we restrain, we go back, pull back. When you are in the abyss or so, you try to step back.
Yeah.
And when you come to this message, you like to go in. It's a little bit strange.
Yeah, that's so strange. It's so the opposite. If you have fear and you don't want to go again, and then I found myself again in the meeting, like, oh, what's going on here? So something strange happened, and that's because we are so into control and thinking that's the way we manage or we do the things, and that's I decide to go there, and when I really don't like it, I don't go there again. And there's something else stronger than that. It's not about us and our deciding. And then we're not used to that because I was also like that. I deciding it or not. And then I suddenly was there again. I was like, huh? And and that fear was still there. And then, or not the whole time, but yeah.
Yeah, just
yeah, it's something going on, and that's outside of that control or knowing or things like that.
Yeah, just today I just asked myself, what resonates with what when there's nothing there? That was, it was a little bit
But
confusing.
you never find out. You never find out because it's not about understanding. I can understand your question, but it's not about that.
Yeah.
It's there. I don't know why. I don't know how that works. I don't know. Maybe somebody else knows. I don't know. You don't need to know.
Yeah. Thank God. Thank you.
Yeah. It's this. It's this. No need to understand this. No need to do anything with this. It's just this, and everything is this. So you can't miss it. You can't work it out. There's no need to work it out. There's no need to find it because it's the only thing there is. trying to find it is that movement or that energy or the thoughts. That's it. It can be thoughting, it can be moving the hands, it can be feelings, it can be a wall. It's already this. It's already what's going on. It's what's happening. It can't be wrong. It's life. It's everything. That's what's going on. Maybe there's a belief or there's an understanding or there's something going, and that's what's happening. And there's already no one. There's already no one. So there's not now somebody who understands, and that's maybe not yet it. No, there's already no one. So maybe there seems to be understanding on a moment, then that moment there's understanding, and then something there's drinking coffee, and there's no story. There's no story. There's just this. We think there's a story, and how before this I did that, and now I'm here, and now that, and this is happening still, then it's going on like that. There's no story. That's just it. There can be a lot of thinking, and that's going on. That's life, thoughting. That's it. Nothing more than that. It's going nowhere. It's just energetic. There can be feelings in the body. There can be reading information and believing it. And that's what's going on. There's no one. So then that's what's happening. It's already that. And nothing is real. It's an appearance. So this body and that every circumstances and buildings, it's it's nothing. And in the same time, it's apparently everything. So there's no real event. There's no real person. There's no real body. It's an appearance. So that's the not being serious. It's that's the freedom too. That's that, and then it's completely at something else, and then there's something else. There's also no time. So it's an appearance, and that energy is moving around, and it seems like we are when we are abstract mind and the brain. We see like, oh, this is a person, that's a person, circumstance, and we make something else of it. It's just a chaotic movement of energy, and there's no one already. And it can be an understanding or a belief, like I am someone, and that's what's going on. It seems like very important. Nothing is important. That's the joy. That nothing is more important than anything else, and that's sitting on the couch or being in prison. That it's what it is. It doesn't mean it's nice. This is not about feeling good, this message. It's about what is. It's just describing what is. There's nothing going on like learning or understanding or something else. There's nothing wrong with what's going on. When there's a phase in a certain way, then that's that phase. Or doing something or anything. It's it. That's what's happening. It's very neutral. Everything is neutral. And it's what's happening. That's more it. It's not making something else of it. It's it. Thank you. Thank you. Mm.